Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Anita Fon, and if you haven't subscribed, kindly subscribe, hit the notification bell to get notified each and every time I upload a new tutorials on my channel. If you're a member, you're welcome back. Thank you for coming back to my channel. In today's tutorial, I'll be showing you on how to cut and sew this pan I'm putting on. If this is something you want to make, keep on watching. The fabric I'm going to be using for this project is called French Terrains. First thing I will do is to go ahead and fold my fabric right side facing each other and make sure that what I have folded should be 1/4 of my hip measurement plus 3 extra inch. Once I'm done making sure that is what I want, I'll go ahead and pin it up so that it will not move when I'm working on. The next thing I will do is to go ahead and draw a straight line, which is going to be my guideline. I will measure from my waist to my hip deep, which is 8 inch. I will not be minus any 1.5 inch for the waistband because I'm making it a high waistband. Then I'll mark from the waist to my crotch depth, which is hip divided by 4. Whatever you have, you're going to mark that up there and connect it up with a straight line. Once I'm done connecting it up with a straight line, I will go ahead now, mark from the waist to the knee line, which mine is 20 inch. I will mark that up and I'm going to connect it up with a straight line. I will go ahead now, pull 1/4 of my hip. Round my hip is 37, divided by 4 is going to give me 9.025. I'm going to mark it on my waist and as well I'll mark it on the hip deep line. Connect that up. Take 1/4 of your hip, divide it by 4 to get the crotch extension. Whatever you have, you're going to place it up here at the front. Once I'm done doing so, the next thing I'm going to do is to add up my 1/2 inch of allowance. Bear in mind that if your fabric is that stretchy, don't add any sewing allowance. This fabric I'm working on is stretchy but not too stretchy. So after doing so, I'll go ahead, I'll put 1/4 of my waist. Around my waist is 29, divided by 4 is going to give me 7.025. I will mark that up and I will also mark my 1/2 inch for allowance. Why am I adding up 1/2 inch? Because I don't want it to be too tight and my fabric is not that stretchy. Once I'm done doing so, I'll go ahead to connect that up. I'll measure up whatever I have from here to here and divide it by 2. That's to get the center line. I will mark that up and I'm going to go ahead and connect that center line all the way to the knee line. Then I'll come to my knee line. I'm going to take my knee line and divide it by 4. Around my knee line is 14. 14 divided by 4 is going to give me 3.5. I'll mark it up here and I'm going to add 1/2 inch for sewing allowance. I'll also do the same thing here and I'm going to add 1/2 inch for sewing allowance. Then I'm going to go ahead and connect it up like this all the way to here and I'll also do the same thing to this other side. Once I'm done connecting that up, I'll go ahead and pull it up so you can see what I'm working on the downer part. The length of my pan I'm working is 42, including my hemming allowance. I will mark that up and I'm going to go ahead and draw a straight line. I'll also connect this line all the way straight downward. So if you want it to be a pencil pan, you just go ahead and measure around your ankle divided by 2. But I don't want it to be a pencil pan. So I measure up whatever I have on my knee and I transfer it down to the hem line. Now, because I want it to be fitted on the knee, I'm going to go in by 1/2 inch. I'll also do the same thing here, meaning that on the knee, I do not add any sewing allowance. That's because I want it to be fitted on the knee, okay? Measure up whatever you have there, transfer it to the downer part. Then add 1/2 inch here, the downer part. Then we'll go ahead to connect that up. After connecting it up, we'll go ahead to cut it up. Once I'm done doing so, I'm going to go ahead and cut that up. When I'm done cutting, I'll go ahead and fold my fabric again into two. This time around, I make sure that I have 1/4 of my hip plus 5 extra inch. I'll place my front piece on it. We'll be using the front piece to cut up the back. I'll come here, I'm going to go ahead, I will extend 2 inch. I'm going to come here, I will extend 1.5 inch, but if you're that booty behind, go ahead and extend up to 2.5 inch. Next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to come here, I will extend 1 inch, 1 inch, 1 inch. Then I'll come here, I'll measure it from that line inside. I'm going to go out by 2 inch. Connect that up like this. See what I've just done? I've connected that up. The next thing I'll do is to come here to the downer part. I'm going to go ahead, I will mark 1.5 inch here. On the knee line, I will mark 1 inch. At the hemline, I'm going to mark 1 inch. Then at the side seam here, I'm going to add 1/2 inch. Once I'm done doing so, I'm going to go ahead and connect that up. After connecting it up, I'll go ahead to cut that up. Then I'll go ahead now to cut on my waistband. Round my waist is 29. I will cut 29. Then I'm going to go down by 3 inch. I'll be adding 1/2 inch for the joining it up to the pants. I'll go ahead now and connect that up, and I'll be cutting that up. After cutting it, we're going to move that aside. Here we have our pieces. We have the waistband, we have the front, and we have the back. We're going to go ahead now and pin it up. Go ahead and stitch 1/2 inch, 1/2 inch. And when you're stitching anything stretchy, please use a small zigzag stitch, or you use the smallest stitch of your machine, because if you use a normal regular stitch, by the time you put this on, it's going to break, okay? So I'll stitch that up, and I'm going to zigzag that as well. Then after doing so, I'm going to go ahead, I'll be pinning the side seams together. Then I'll also pin the inseams as well together. After pinning it, I'll take it to the machine. I'm going to stitch that up. Once I'm done stitching it up, I'll also go ahead to zigzag it. I will go ahead and join it up by 1/2 inch. Once I'm done doing so, I'm going to zigzag that up. The next thing I'm going to do now is I'm going to take my waistband. I will notch the first center of my waistband. Then after doing so, what I will do is to go ahead, I'll just fold it into two. I'll fold it into two like this, so you can see. Then I'm going to put it inside my pan like this. Make sure the right side are facing right side. Then I'll be pinning that up. You can add elastic waistband here if you want, but me, I will not be adding that up. And make sure that you also stitch here with a small zigzag stitch or the smallest stitch of your machine, because if you don't do so, it's going to break by the time you put it on. Once I'm done stitching that up, the next thing I'm going to do now is I'll flip it to the right side. I'm going to be hemming the downer part. I'll be hemming the downer part of the pan by 1 inch and 1 inch inward. When I'm done hemming it, we'll be done with this tutorial. So I hope you find this tutorial helpful. If you do, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, like, comment, and share. And turn on your notification bell so that you get notified each and every time I post a new tutorial on my channel. Thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.